They score! They score!
Welcome to God's Playbook with your host, Father Rico Passero.
Lock at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown!
Let's play ball.
No meat for you. Just like the soup Nazi from Seinfeld, who says that there is
no soup for you.
Today, friends, we're going to talk about no meat for you, meaning us as Catholics on Fridays. We need to talk about what that is. I've been waiting for many episodes to be able to say this here at God's Playbook, and today's the day. So we need to talk about why don't we eat meat on Fridays? Well, canon law or church law urges us that we are to use Fridays as a reminder of the death of Jesus, and by abstaining from meat, which means by not eating meat, we are to recognize our reliance on God and the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. So let's hear from church law. And again, this is number 1250. Canon 1250 says, the penitential days and times in the universal church are every Friday of the whole year and the season of Lent. Canon 1251 says, abstinence from eating meat or some other food, according to the prescripts of the Conference of Bishops, is to be observed on every Friday of the year, unless a Friday occurs on a day listed as a solemnity. Abstinence and fasting, however, are to be observed on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. Canon 1252 says, the law of abstinence binds those who have completed their 14th year of age. The law of fasting, however, binds all those who have attained their majority until the beginning of their 16th year. Nevertheless, pastors of souls and parents are to take care that minors not bound by the law of fast and abstinence are also educated in a genuine sense of penance. In 1253 it says, the Conference of Bishops can determine more precisely the observance of fast and abstinence, as well as substituting other forms of penance, especially works of charity and exercises of piety, in whole or in part for abstinence and fasting. So let's talk about what this means. So through the season of Lent, which is a reminder, friends, from Ash Wednesday through Good Friday, we are to abstain from eating meat on Fridays and on Ash Wednesday. But this is extended to the whole year. I know many Catholics do not eat meat all year round. This was mandatory before the Second Vatican Council and then relaxed. But the relaxation of the law wasn't so that we would all run and enjoy a hamburger on a Friday, but rather that if we were to not abstain from meat on Friday, then as the Church says, we are to do an act of charity or an extra pious devotion. I know in my own family growing up, we always abstained from meat every Friday through the year. And this became a very important penitential practice for the Passero family. I'm grateful to my parents for not just allowing us to do that during Lent, but all year round. And I know for many people, this might be something that you may be unaware of, but now listening to this podcast, we're all going to be the meat Nazis on Friday and not eat meat, right, friends? No meat for you. Just like, again, our Seinfeld fans, we identify with the soup Nazi, no soup for you. So, why no meat on Fridays? Well, during Lent and every week in the year, we recall Jesus' sacrifice on the cross on Good Friday. And so Friday remains for us a day of penance, a day in which we have reparation for the sacrifice of Jesus. By abstaining from meat and other Lenten practices, Catholics join ourselves to the sufferings of Jesus. But it is not meant then for us, friends, to go out and have crab and salmon and all kinds of awesome fish dishes. So instead of, passing up on a hamburger, we're going to have crab, lobster, and scallops for dinner. The idea is that we are to live simply, our dependency on God. We are to connect with our brothers and sisters in other war-torn parts of the world or impoverished parts of the world who don't have meat or see meat as a luxury as opposed to a staple that we enjoy in our first world countries. So it's very important that we realize this is not just a rule of the church or an old rule, but rather it's a very contemporary one in which we are invited to abstain from meat and offer this small sacrifice to God to connect our sufferings with the sufferings of Jesus, our sacrifice with the sufferings of Jesus. So I encourage you, friends. I pray that each of us have been adapting to this through Lent for sure, but that we extend that not just for those few Fridays through Lent, and of course Ash Wednesday as well, but throughout the year. If this is not already part of your own spirituality, friends, I encourage you to make it part of your spirituality. The church continues to challenge us, to push us, to encourage us to grow in ways of holiness. And I know for many of us, we're looking for new ways, so this could be a new way for you. If you're like myself, where this has always been your tradition, keep up the good work, friends. It puts a smile on the face of Jesus. When we do little sacrifices for him, it makes the Lord very happy. It helps to remove some of the temporal punishment due to our sin and helps us to connect ourselves with those who are most in need throughout the world. So let's do that. Let's continue to understand not just the rules of our church and the guidelines of our church, but the reasons why. Because then we move from something we just don't get to do, but rather this is a free suffering, a free sacrifice, a free offering that I give to God to show him how much I love him and to thank him for all the daily blessings we receive. For God's Playbook, friends, I'm Father Rico. God loves you and so do I.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting us on our Ko-Fi, ko-fi, or GoFundMe at God's Playbook Podcast. Thanks, and God bless.